welcome. We're so glad to have you.
Oh, I'm so delighted to be here.
Thank you.
Very small group, I see. Well, I'm Perry Johnson, and I'm running for President of the United States. I'm probably a little too conservative for this group, but I'll take my chances. I am pro-life, pro-Second Amendment, anti-woke, anti-China, pro-American worker, and by golly, pro-freedom. When I'm elected president, there are three things that I'm going to do immediately. Number one, I am going to start a program where we balance the budget to stop inflation. Number two, never again will we allow transition therapy to minors. It is child abuse. And number three, you may not like this, but I'm getting rid of the Department of Education. And I know you guys are probably going to throw stones at me, but I disagree with our Vice President about Ukraine. I think it's ridiculous to send $100 billion to the Ukraine when we're going broke. You know, the only reason we have inflation is because of the government. They decided to spend your money, and man, are they good at it. Do you know that the government set a record this last year for the amount of money spent by any country in the history of the world? We went from 19.2 trillion in debt to 32 trillion in debt in 6 years. And what happened? Inflation. So when you go to buy a dozen eggs and you're on the verge of a heart attack because you can't believe they're $4.50, blame the government. When you're out there spending literally $3 to $3.50 for a gallon of gas when it should be $1.75, blame the government. Because the government is the one that has caused this problem. Now, do you like spending all that money needlessly because our government can't control themselves? I ask you, does that make any sense? Did anyone get a book? Is there anybody here that got a book? Okay. Now, the reality of life is that I'm a guy that started with nothing. In fact, I was getting eviction notices when I was in grad school. I didn't even have enough money for food. I kind of live on a sub sandwich. But in America, it's very funny. My dad always said, anything is possible. Well, I got a job at Borg Warner in the 80s when the auto industry was in trouble. I don't know if any of you remember, but back then, the Japanese had come in with tremendous quality, and they were killing us. But I thought I knew how to solve the problem. And so I left Borg Warner and started my first company. And I introduced statistical methods. And do you know that in 4 or 5 years, we had the best quality in the world? And then I wrote a book on ISO 9000, the quality standard. Has anyone ever heard of that? Well, it ignited my company, and now Perry Johnson Registrars and Perry Johnson Laboratory Accreditation do business in 61 countries around the world. And I live the American dream. I have spent my entire life bringing quality and efficiency to companies. That is all I've done. And now I want to bring quality and efficiency to the federal government. I think it's about time. Now, I say that this excessive spending has caused a moral decay in our entire country. This excessive spending has changed values. Do you know that about 20 years ago, 70% of Americans thought that patriotism was important? And now it's 39%. I don't know whether any of you saw this study, but they also said that religion was important to 63% of the people 20 years ago, and now it's important to 38% to 39%. And 20 years ago, 59% of people, kids, young children, that at my guys 25 to 30 wanted to have children, and now it is down to 30%. Now, I have a 2-cent plan, 2 cents to save America. You see the book. We're going to cut 2 cents out of every dollar. That means the government's not going to be spending all that money. They're reducing it every year, and we are going to balance that budget. We are going to stop inflation. You know, it's okay to bankrupt a company 4 or 5 times, but it's not okay to bankrupt America. And I have over 70 companies throughout the world. None have ever gone bankrupt. In fact, none have any debt. And I intend to bring America back on a golden path, because I am going to restore the basic fabric of America. I am going to get us back to the moral fiber of America. My son is here. My wife is here. And Jesus is a huge part of our life, and he guides us all the way. And I hear inside, we are going to keep this the greatest country the world has ever known. And by golly, we're going to have that 2-cent plan, and we are going to save America. I say America is going to stay the greatest country the world has ever known. And God bless Iowa, and God bless America.